You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show podcast on KPEL965.com.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management Studios.
They were tried separately, but are being sentenced together. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. James and Jennifer Crumbley sitting near each other in court now in Michigan.
I know this is an emotional day for everyone.
That's the judge who will sentence them to up to 15 years in prison after hearing from the families of the students the Crumbley's son murdered in his school shooting. They have been held criminally responsible for, convicted of involuntary manslaughter for not doing enough to treat Ethan's mental illness and buying the gun used. He is now in prison for life.
Ethan pleading guilty in October 2022 to 1 count of terrorism, 4 counts of first-degree murder, and 19 other charges. He is currently serving a life sentence without parole. 4 students were killed on November 30th, 2021, when he came out of the Oxford High School bathroom and opened fire in the hallway.
Fox's Todd Pyro. More than a year after a train went off the tracks in Ohio, causing contamination, a planned payout.
Norfolk Southern Railway agrees to pay $600 million in a settlement that, if approved by a court, would resolve all class action claims within a 20-mile radius from last year's fiery and toxic train derailment in East Palestine, and personal injury claims within a 10-mile radius of the derailment. Payments could begin by the end of the year.
That's Fox's Jeff Manasso. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is testifying now at a Senate hearing into the administration's Pentagon budget request, but he's been interrupted a few times by pro-Palestinian protesters.
Stop funding the genocide in Gaza. Stop funding
I would direct the Capitol Police to remove the demonstrators.
Right after Democratic Senator Jack Reed said that, and they were escorted out, Austin resumed talking again, urging Congress to approve new military aid to Israel and Taiwan and Ukraine, saying Russian President Putin is betting on the U.S. abandoning Ukraine, which Austin says would make the U.S. far less secure. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. Are you still on the fence about owning gold? It's time to pull the trigger with the Oxford Gold Group and buy gold and silver. Nobody can predict the future, but we can't put our head in the sand either. The Oxford Gold Group are the pros. They make owning gold and silver simple and easy to understand. Call Oxford Gold Group right now, and you may qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals. Call 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered.
It's time to win cash. Get your KPEL News apps ready because here's your chance to win up to $30,000. Just enter the following code into your KPEL News app where it says win cash, and make sure you listen for more codes throughout the day because the more codes you enter, the better your chances. Here is your next code.
Ready for that 9 o'clock code? Here it is, 382. The 9 o'clock code is 382.
Bikers Against Child Abuse empowers children to not feel afraid of the world in which they live. For more information, visit BACAworld.org. Our helpline is 866-885-9474. BACA, breaking the chains of abuse.
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by 1% Lists Acadiana. Call Shannon LeBlanc today at 337-522-0682. Save on fees, not on service.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Hi, hello. Welcome, Moon Griffon Show. What a great day. Terrific Tuesday. Great to have you with us. Always, folks. Always love to be here. So thankful for my stations, my audience, my advertisers. Just every day is a blessing when you've been doing this as long as I can, just to come in here in another day. I know some people say, boy, that gets old. Got to get boring. None of it ever. It's always fun to come here and visit with you. You can always get in touch with me, whether you call in or you email me, moon@moongriffon.com. Been a blessing to wake up again in the morning. As you get older, getting up in the morning is a great thing. It's not a bad thing at all. I can promise you it is an awesome thing. Anyway, great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Matthew James, Tax Wealth Management Hotline. So there's so much stuff to cover today, but I'm going to try to get to as much as I can. Great piece in the Hayride by Scott McKay. This graph shows just how awful John Bel Edwards truly was. Great graph. And by the way, I thought Scott did a great job of explaining something without ever saying it. I've been telling y'all over 8 years now about the $2 billion budget deficit that was never there. Scott, in one little article, can make it where everybody can understand it, which backed up everything I've been saying. It's a lie. That's why nobody has ever challenged me. The media hadn't challenged me. None of these politicians have ever challenged me. The closest I ever got challenged about the budget deficit was, what's his name? Zero Zizarain. I'll come show you. That was over a year ago. I hadn't heard from Zero. I hadn't heard from Zero at all when he was supposed to come show me. Anyway, I'll get to that in a few minutes. The way the media labels things dealing with transgender is absolute lie. We're going to get to that. Also, the ESAs, Education Savings Account. Let me give you the headlines, and we'll get to that too. And the devil's advocate, the John George rag. Louisiana lawmakers advance bill to give parents tax money for private schools. See the headlines? It has nothing to do with the bill. Has nothing to do with the bill and what they're passing. They don't even like to talk about poor people coming out of bad schools. Everything is to stop it. They want education to stay exactly where it is. Louisiana lawmakers advance bill to give parents tax money for private schools. See how they just make that adjustment? Because they know most people read the headlines of the first paragraph and they move on. But anyway, that in a minute. Now, same thing with that they did with this bill. I got two different U.S. News headline. Louisiana transgender bathroom bill clears first hurdle. There is no transgender bathroom bill. It's not. Headlines in the devil's advocate, Megan Friedman. Transgender bathroom bill clears Louisiana House Committee. There's no transgender bathroom bill. There's not any. And this is what bothers me, that you got a media, the national media is no different than the Gannett newspaper and the devil's advocate when they write stuff like this, because they want to do that to make it look at these Republicans and these Christians, they hate people. Nobody's hating on somebody. We're trying to help young girls go to the bathroom and feel comfortable with other women, not in a bathroom with men. This is not that hard, folks. Even an advocate, the devil's advocate, could get this right. Even the devil's advocate, how hard is it to get it right? Well, it must be pretty hard because they never get it right. There are bills that have been passed. Beth Mizell had bills. John Bel Edwards right there. He wanted little boys to get their a penis replaced. Little 10 and 11-year-old kids. That's a woke guy. That's Bel Edwards. That's what that's what the media believes. But anyway, once again, first paragraph, a handful of other GOP-controlled states have recently passed legislation dubbed bathroom bills. The LGBTQ advocates say Louisiana's bill is among the most expansive and restrictive in the country. Proponents of the measure, which has been titled, you ready? Woman's Safety Protection Act. Okay? That's what it is. All we trying to do is, we had, I don't know if he's listening today, we had Representative Wilder on. It was his bill. All they're trying to do is make sure little girls, young baby girls, teenage girls, are not harassed by some male in there bragging that he's a woman. Watching them, checking them out, maybe doing some things that that definitely doesn't need to go on. It's protecting women. Beth Mizell bill is protecting women in sports. I mean, the bill by Wilder, Representative Wilder, is a good bill. If you ask him, he'll tell you, all I'm trying to do is protect women. He's trying to protect men, too. That's all it does. It's not an anti-anybody bill. And yet the media doesn't get it. It was House Bill 608, Representative Roger Wilder, Denham Springs. You know, sets aside bathrooms and sleeping areas for specific sex, resembles so-called bathroom bills that have popped up in red states across the country. It's a Woman's Safety and Protection Act. Here's my question. Why can't you just call it this is the man that wrote the bill. They can ask the guy, hey, what does this do? He ain't going to say, well, we're trying to beat up these men that want to be women. It's not what it does. And this is what's happening all over the country, and it's happening in our state, and the media doesn't even try to get it right. Matter of fact, we got him on right now, I think. Representative Wilder, how you doing?
Hey, Moon, how are you today?
Yeah, and I'm glad you called in real quick because I want you to, the media doesn't come to you and say, and I'm guessing they didn't say, hey, what does this do? Hey, we're just trying to protect our young ladies. They just write the headlines as anti. There's nothing anti about the bill. Am I wrong by asking you that?
No, sir. This bill simply seeks to provide the right to privacy for women and young girls. That's the only thing it's trying to do.
But listen to me. I know what it said. Yeah. You know what it said. How can the media not just ask you, sir, what does this bill do? And you tell them. They can ask you other questions. I'm not anti-anybody. I'm trying to protect young ladies and young little ladies and little girls. I mean, how hard is it to pick? How hard is it to pick up the phone and call you, brother?
Question.
No, how hard is it to call you?
Well, a few of them have reached out, and I've provided statements to a few people and answered some questions, and some of them never posted or printed what I replied with. I guess it wasn't controversial enough, just being simply, for something.
Yeah, and they want to know why I don't do interviews with them. The twit Tyler Bridges, you're rude. You didn't call us back. Told him to his face, I don't want to be in your newspaper. I don't care what you ask. Well, last time I got a call, I spent 25 or 30 minutes on the phone. They put 4 words in. I said, man, I ain't wasting my time. So
yeah, I mean, I'll be happy to talk to anybody, but it doesn't, that's, I hate to say it, but that's noise. Yep. I mean, when you get inside of here and you start working with everybody, the one thing I've learned is the best thing you can do is to not acknowledge the noise. Quite frankly, I don't look at news sites, I don't read the newspaper, and I really don't go on Facebook because it allows you to focus on your task at hand with your co-legislators and with, everybody here.
I like your attitude on that because you're trying to get a job done. See, you know what you're doing. And what I mean by that, let's just take this one bill. All you're trying to do, I read it. I had you on the air the other day. I get it. I'm smart enough to get what you're trying to do. It's a 1 + 1 = 2. The media doesn't want to get it. I just shared 2 headlines with you. Louisiana transgender bathroom bill clears, and then there's another one, transgender bathroom bill. I don't see you even mentioning that in here. I think you mentioning appropriate people in the bathrooms with these young ladies.
It'd be nice if the headline read, young girls deserve to feel protected in vulnerable areas. That would be a little more true.
No, that would be great headline. I love it. That's Mr. Wilder, that's exactly what it ought to say. It ought to have, the headlines ought to be exactly what you said. Young women protected with this bill. No, they hate transgenders. I don't hate transgenders. People can do whatever they want to when they get to be 18 years old. Okay?
The headline is actually the bill. That's the beautiful part. It doesn't have to be on the front of the Advocate. It's on the front of House Bill 608, and therein included in all the wording in there. So the headline is the bill itself, which passed unanimously out of committee yesterday.
How do you feel this should pass the House with no problem, but I would think the Senate would pass something like this.
I mean, I've the way we crafted this was to make sure it was very positive with respect to what we just said about protecting vulnerability, trust, and innocence. These bills made it. Some of these bills made it as far as the governor, and I think we have a more conservative legislature. So I don't anticipate any hiccups. But it's not done until it's done, and we're going to continue to push and fight for what we believe in.
Well, your problem is the media and the people that are against this are going to just create crap. I just think you ought to keep your cool and just say, all I'm trying to do is protect young ladies. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm trying to protect biological young ladies from being embarrassed and let them go in a restroom and feel protected. Look, I got a special needs child, Representative Wilder, and we don't just send her to the bathroom. But there's been occasions where I, being a man, couldn't go in a girl's bathroom, had to go sit right there and had to ask ladies, hey, ma'am, I got a special needs child. Would you check on somebody? I thought, and they'd go in and say, she's coming out now. She's washing her hands or whatever, because I was scared to death. But, man, letting them know a man can be in there with a special need daughter like mine, how crazy is that?
Well, I mean, amen. I mean, everybody has a right to their bodily privacy. So the entire point of this, like I said, we just reiterate the same couple of messaging points. I mean, it's the truth of what's in the bill. You read the words and you explain what it is. It's supportive and standing by women and women's spaces. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean,
like you said, the media is not going to say it like that, and we understand that that's the way it is.
Yeah, I know, but someone like me that's kind of somewhat in the media, I just think we ought to protect the bills and things that people are trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do.
I appreciate the show. I appreciate the enthusiasm, and that's why I was tuning in. I appreciate hearing what you say. So thank you.
All right, my brother. Well, look, good luck with it. I hope it passes. I just know this is not anti-anything, but it shows a lot of pro-young ladies, and I like when we protect our young ladies. Thank you so much for the bill. All right, brother. We got to take a break. Thanks for calling in. All right, that was awful kind of him to call in. All right, 844-766-6607. Matthew James Tax Wealth Management Hotline. You can be part of the program. Email me, moon@moongriffon.com.
It's springtime, and that means garden time here in Louisiana. And Louisiana-owned and operated Stein is where you need to go to get all the great deals on plants and everything else you need for that brand new flower bed you've been wanting to make. Stein has great deals on garden soil, mulch, weed and ant killer, everything you need to lay the groundwork for that brand new flower bed, plus assorted flowers and vegetables in jumbo 6-pack starting at just $2.79. The weather is perfect, and that means you have the opportunity to start bringing those great blossoms into your yard today. Plus, springtime means outdoor cooking, grills, charcoal and propane burners. All of that you need you can find online at steinhome.com. Louisiana-owned and operated, Stein is your place for the gardening and outdoor grilling you need to take advantage of this spring. Check out everything they have to offer online at steinhome.com. That's steinhome.com. Check them out today.
When you think about how you'll spend your money in retirement, what comes to mind? Probably travel, sunny beaches, and spoiling your grandchildren. But a recent survey found that over 30% of every dollar a retiree spends goes to taxes. Baby boomers were told for years to save money in their IRAs and 401ks and pay taxes later. Well, now that day has arrived, and boomers are shocked to see a third of their money going back to Uncle Sam. John Blanchard and the Matthew James Financial Group can help. What if you could protect all or most of your retirement wealth from future tax rate increases? Achieve a zero or near zero effective tax rate for most of your retirement years. Find out more. 337-366-8366. Isn't it time you got a second opinion on your wealth and retirement outlook? Learn how you could potentially kick the IRS out of your IRA. 337-366-8366 and online at MatthewJames.com. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Don't forget Liz Murrow will join us. She is Attorney General. She'll join us to talk about ESAs. Okay. She is Attorney General to talk about the ESAs. So we'll get a chance to visit with her. was a bill filed by Blake Miguez, and I wanted to talk about this. This is real important, so we'll talk to her in a few minutes. All right. Last thing on this deal, because it just doesn't make any sense. We make bills that are good, and yet it's just bottom line is it's a good bill to protect young girls, and we Edwards vetoed all kind of bills like this. And we got somebody now that's not going to veto bills, just trying to help young girls out, help in the bathroom. Just talking about embarrassing situations. Go to the restroom, man. That's just your business. I can promise you I don't want girls in the boys' bathroom. We don't want boys in the girls' bathroom. When this all came out, this is still crazy to me. This is always going to be crazy to me. We had to follow the science for COVID, but we don't follow the science when it comes to human beings. And somebody explain it to me, because once again, you have to explain it to me, but you have to understand it for me, because I can't understand it. Doesn't even make any sense. None of this makes sense. So we come up with good bills to protect these young ones. This bill, Louisiana's bill, will require public schools to designate each restroom or changing room for the exclusive use of either females, males, or members of the same family. What is hard about that right there? Females, males, or members of the same family. What's so hard about that? Why is that controversial? It's not. Similar rules would apply to bathrooms and sleeping quarters in state prisons, juvenile detention centers, and state-managed domestic violence shelters. What is hard about this bill? Nothing. They make it hard for no reason at all. None. The bill defines female and male according to one biological reproductive system rather than one gender identity. The bill defines female and male according to one biological reproductive system rather than one gender's identity. In other words, really who you are. Representative Wilder said, I'm standing at basic understanding of the biological difference between males and females that create the need to separate privacy spaces. Boy, this is so anti-Christ, it's not even funny. The bill's goal is to put women first by affording them confidence in their privacy and safety. What is wrong with this? Nothing. 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 There's nothing here. I mean, you talking about nice bill, doesn't do anything, doesn't hurt anybody, doesn't focus against anybody. You read what it goes, what's happening. Louisiana bill comes amidst a local national flood of bills targeting transgender people. I don't see nothing about transgender. I see males and females, which there's only two. There will only always be two genders. You can't change that. So if it talks about both genders, it's over. None, period. And there's nothing anti. At the time, the Democratic governor, John Bel Edwards, vetoed the bills, effectively stopping most measures from becoming law during his final month. And of course, he's woke. Nothing wrong with these bills. They're not against anybody. They're not hurting anybody. Nothing. None of it makes any sense. By the way, great piece from Scott McKay on Edwards' legacy. You've got to listen to this. Don't go anywhere. He explains something that's so simple, and I've been saying it for a while. Also, they passed the Education Savings Account bill out the House. Of course, the headlines you would never know. It says a bill to give parents tax money for private schools. So anyway, Liz Morrow when we get back. folks, this is Moon Griffon. I built my dream home. Start imagining your dream home. And when you do, make sure you call my friends or get in touch with my friends at Schumacher Homes. SchumacherHomes.com, SchumacherHomes.com. When you tour Schumacher Model Home, you're in control. Stop by during operating hours and tour at your own pace. There's a reason my friends at Schumacher have been building homes for over 30 years. They're committed to making the home building process as enjoyable, simple, and hassle-free as possible. Call them or visit them, SchumacherHomes.com. SchumacherHomes.com to schedule your free, no-obligation design and pricing meeting. Hey, it's an hour or two of your time working on your dream home. And my friends over at Schumacher Homes just announced some exciting news. You can get a mortgage rate as low as 2.875% when you finance with Schumacher Homes. That is 2.875% when you finance with Schumacher Mortgage. Hey, the whole Schumacher team is dedicated to making sure your dream home becomes a reality. SchumacherHomes.com, SchumacherHomes.com. Folks, remember the name All Field Equipment, allfieldequipment.com. When I say All Field, that's ALL Field.com. All Field Equipment, founded in 2016 by my good friend, Mr. Bill Allen, with over 50 years' experience in the oil and gas industry. Hey, this is a great company to do business with. Whether it's production equipment, control valves, controller, glyco pumps, chemical pumps, chokes, Wilden pumps, Barton recorders, All Field has new, rebuilt, and parts. All Field handles some of the industry's top brands such as Norasil, Fisher, and Kimray. On the supply side, Allfield has anything from Q-tips to appliances to general Allfield supplies. Allfield is one of the largest suppliers of bottled water in the Gulf. And remember, Allfield never changes transportation. Like the name says, Allfield has it all, covering the Architects area and the Gulf of Mexico. Allfield Equipment, 337-837-1003, 337-837-1003.
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by 1% List Acadiana. Call Shannon LeBlanc today at 337-522-0682. Save on fees, not on service.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607 is the number. It's a Matthew James Tax Wealth Management Hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, we're honored to have the Attorney General, Liz Murrow, joins us. Miss Liz, I thought you were boycotting me. It must have been something I said.
You know, Moon, I will come on your show anytime I'm out. I've been kind of busy.
Yeah, I know you have. I've kind of been following all the stuff that you have to put up with. But today, I want to visit with you a little bit about the ESGs. And I know Blake had a bill that I don't know if it's totally shot down, but they kind of stopped it. And I think you need to explain to people how important this is and what the ESGs are and what they're going to actually do to us.
So, yeah, ESG stands for Environmental, Social,
Governance.
Environmental, Social, Governmental. Yeah, like it's factors that there's kind of this push to take into account factors that are not directly related to the financial performance of an investment fund. And Blake's bill says you have to act in your fiduciary duty. Your fiduciary duty tells you to do what's best to make the fund perform, and you can't take into account these environmental, social, governance factors when you decide how to invest money on behalf of people who are retirees in our retirement funds.
And this is dealing with the climate change craziness that they're pushing.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, so...
That's right. There was this movement to get people to use the power, basically, of their investing power. And, you know, some of these funds are just enormous. CalPERS is one in California, huge fund. You know, Lasers is a big fund. I mean, there's just a lot of money in those funds that the trustees have to invest to maximize the benefits for the retirees and the future retirees in those retirement funds, and so I think it's a good bill. It's running into what we always see, and that is some opposition from the fund managers, the trustees and the directors and people who run these funds.
Yeah, it's so hard if we don't, if you go back to the state treasurer, John Schroeder, former state treasurer, he got us out of investing with these companies that were really involved in this ESG. I mean, they took Texas took $8 billion out of retirement that involved in the ESGs. I saw another state today. I can't remember the name of it. I got it right here, but they did the same thing. A lot of people are looking at this ESG and say, hold up just a second, we're not participating in this.
Well, right. So Louisiana is very heavily invested in oil and gas infrastructure. We fuel the country through our state and through our ports and through the companies that are invested here. And what these policies do is tell people to disinvest from those companies so that they'll go bankrupt. I mean, the whole point is to put them out of business. And so, it really has a very harmful effect on Louisiana. And I don't know why we would bet against ourselves.
Oh, no doubt about it. That's a great point, Liz. I mean, I know this is not working, and it's really hurting people if you really look at it. How in the world can we be so involved in this that it's going to affect every part of our lives, especially when you talk about banking and money and things of that nature?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so. What Blake's particular bill? Wouldn't it have stopped pretty much all this over time?
It is supposed to do that. I mean, I think that I'm working with Blake to see if I can work on some language that might reduce some of the opposition that was at the table. I spoke, for example, to one of the parties that had testified against it, and they said, look, we just want our retirement fund to make money. Like, our only interest is for our retirement fund to make money. And, so my answer to that is the bill, that's what the bill does. The bill says prioritize investing in the performance of your fund, not some other factors that you're making decisions based on some other social or environmental reasons that you think are good policy, but not good investing. That's not how we maximize the performance of the fund. Yeah. Well, is there other things coming down the pipe dealing with this, Liz, that we can do something about it? I mean, if you support it, you support some other things we can be doing to stop some of the craziness? Well, I'm already doing some of those things. I mean, I think we have to continue to watch the rules that are coming out of the federal government. So that the SEC just recently promulgated some rules that would have forced certain kinds of disclosures that we think were unconstitutional and exceeded the SEC's authority. That was also another one of these climate initiatives. Mm-hmm. And, I think it's all kind of part and parcel of the same effort. And that is to use the financial screws on these companies so that it harms their financial performance. And, they may or may not have problems in the operation of their businesses, but the government doesn't need to be putting its thumb on the scale to force them out of business. So we'll be watching for all of those kinds of things as they come up. And I join lawsuits with other attorney generals, or I lead them myself.
Yeah, the thing about it, Liz Murrow, special guest attorney general for the great state of Louisiana. The thing about it is, it seems like when the federal government gets involved, like they had with the Green New Deal, they're trying to force everybody into different vehicles. They're trying to force the banking community. It's incredible what they're trying to force on American people who really know what's best for themselves and what's best for their communities. And I think that's what y'all looking at, is the force of the federal government through banks or banking regulations or whatever is really the problem here.
Yeah, I've never seen an administration come out as aggressively as this one from the very beginning and declare that they were going to put an entire industry out of business. And you make a good point on vehicles. That is another area where we've seen some very, very aggressive moves. Very recently, we've seen some rules come out that jack up the environmental value of an electric vehicle, and by comparison to a combustion engine vehicle, and also require the production of a certain number of EVs by 2030 and 2070. And the whole objective is to force EVs to basically be the dominant car in the market. And people don't want these vehicles. They cost a lot, and they're not environmentally friendly anyway.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm just worried when they get in these ESGs and they start doing this, Liz, you're going to go buy a vehicle that's a combustion engine, and they're going to red flag you because you're trying to buy something that uses oil and gas. And I don't think this is just for...
Well, it's going to be hard to buy them, too.
Yeah. Oh, they're doing that now.
They're trying to limit the production.
Yeah,
so the cost is going to go way up.
Well, that's what's happening now. Limit the production, forcing you in something that's twice as expensive. This is not America. And I know you fighting for the Constitution and people's right. This is not America for the government to do this.
Right. Well, and it's frustrating that we know that the batteries that they use for these electric vehicles have an enormous environmental cost. They also have a large human cost with strip mining and child labor and things like that. And, so they're not accurately reflecting what the environmental and human cost is of those batteries. And yet they claim that they are, 10 times or 100 times better than a gas combustion engine. And I mean, I think they at least ought to be fairly evaluating what the environmental cost is, but they don't because they have a preference in the market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their preference is trying to get people to do what they want you to do.
Right.
And and guess what? These big companies, BlackRock and all these companies, they make all kind of money because of this. But you can't force something like that in the marketplace. If you do, Liz, it's going to be a disaster.
Well, and we threatened. I mean, we sent a letter, not threatening, but promising that we were going to pursue the Net Zero Banking Alliance, and some of those groups, like BlackRock, have modified their approach to some of this, and they have said that they aren't going to pressure investors or institutional investors like Lasers or CalPERS to engage in ESG investing. That kind of remains to be seen, but those big proxy advisors and investment advisors, when they start engaging in the same kind of conduct, it creates another kind of market player that's doing the work of the government in trying to change what consumers have available to them and drive the market to a certain result.
Hey, Liz, and I don't know how much time. Do you have enough time for another segment? And can you comment on the redistricting case, or you can't do that right now?
No, I have a little time, and I can kind of update you on where we are. We're in the second day of trial, so we can talk about it.
Good. I'll let you update us. That'd be a great idea. Liz Murrow, my special guest, Attorney General of the great state of Louisiana. We'll take a break. Be right back. From their humbling beginning, Dino Hardwoods is striving to provide superior service and quality products for their customers. Hey, I know Charles Altman. He does a great job. If you're looking for lumber, Dino Hardwoods stocks a large selection of domestic and import hardwood lumber and cypress. You ought to see their stuff. Exotic lumber, they got that as well. Trust in Dino Hardwoods when it comes to your exotic lumber needs right now. Molding, plywood, paint, and L products, they are ready for you. They got 3 great locations. Their corporate office is right here in Broussard, Louisiana. There's an office in Shreveport on 2801 Valley View Drive and one in Tyler, Texas, 12492 Highway 155 North. Hey, if you're looking for something different and something new and somebody who will service you, it's Dino Hardwoods. I'm telling you, don't forget Dino Hardwoods. DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com. Great locations. They can service you. They can deliver. DinoHardwoods.com. Check out this great Louisiana company. Folks, you hear me brag about an advertisement. South Star Urgent Care is the name you need to know. Listen, you look up in the middle of the night, you look at, God, where do we go? South Star Urgent Care. They open on weekends. They open at night. They can get you taken care of. If you're sick, if you're feeling bad, maybe you coughing, dehydrated, fever, flu, fractures, South Star Urgent Care wants to service you, and they're going to treat you like you want to be treated. They're going to get you in, get you out. You're not going to sit in a dark waiting room for a bunch of times. South Star Urgent Care. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com. You know you can register before you go and set your appointment. Hey, it's really cool. These folks at South Star greet you with a genuine smile and make you feel very comfortable. Folks, you're looking for the perfect urgent care? It's South Star Urgent Care. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com. South Star Urgent Care. It's the urgent care you need. Go to SouthStarMoon.com, SouthStarMoon.com. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Matthew James Tax Wealth Management Hotline, 844-766-6607. Honored to have the Attorney General, Liz Murrill, who is our Louisiana State Attorney General. All right, Liz, you got, I know it's the second day of the redistricting trial, and update us on where y'all at right now and what's going on.
Well, so there's 3 days scheduled for trial. We're in the second day of trial right now, and this, as people may know or not know, is a 3-judge panel because it was a constitutional challenge to the new map that was adopted from the special redistricting session. So we are defending that map. A group of plaintiffs in Shreveport filed a lawsuit against the map, and because it's a constitutional challenge, it's a 3-judge panel with 3 federal judges on it. So there was some testimony yesterday from plaintiff witnesses, and there'll be more testimony today and tomorrow. The judges have asked some questions about issues that may or may not have come up in the prior case, and so we're going to be adding that to our briefing. And, they've got a rule, we think, by May 15th. I think the Secretary of State's staff will testify today about what the timing needs are. If they do, in fact, block this map, then what will happen next?
Yeah, so really, you saying by May, do you think it's going to take that long for them to make the decision on this?
I don't. I think that they will act swiftly because they know that time is of the essence when it comes to making a decision in response to whatever they rule. So if they uphold the map, then the Secretary of State still has to go reprogram everything because right now the programming in the system is the current map. It's the 22 map. Okay. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And they need to know by May 15th which map they're going to be programming into the system. So I don't think they'll take very long. And there will be appeals one way or the other. Because of the nature of this case, it will go directly up to the United States Supreme Court and not through the Court of Appeal.
Yeah, but if it does that, won't that take longer than May 15th?
Yes, it will. So, if you have if the map is upheld, then they would go to the United States Supreme Court. But my expectation is that the map would probably be in place for this next round of elections, even while it's being appealed to the United States Supreme Court. The same thing could be true if they block the map. We will have to come up with some kind of remedy that addresses the problem of not having a map in place. The current programming is under the 22 map.
Yeah. Wow. So, Liz, I know that you've got to represent the state, but is this a 50-50 deal? A lot of people I talk to, I don't like to talk about experts because they usually get it wrong, but a lot of people I talk to don't think this map's going to hold up. I'm one of them, but I don't know that.
I think it's hard to say.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to rule you, but you get a feeling. But I guess you hadn't been with only 1 day behind you. I guess there's no way to get a feeling on that just yet.
That's right, and it's always hard to predict what federal judges are going to do. Even predicting what one will do is difficult. This time it's 3. So I think it's hard to say. I mean, we're doing our job and we're defending the map. And some of the plaintiffs from the 22 case, the Robinson plaintiffs, have intervened in this case, and they are also aligned with the state in defending the map. So they're going to put on some witnesses too. And then it's just up to the judges. But there are some hard questions here. I mean, I've been very frank about acknowledging that the legislature is put in a very difficult position without any clear instructions from the United States Supreme Court about how to do their job. And when we took this up to the United States Supreme Court 2 summers ago, that was our whole pitch, and our whole argument was the only people who can correct the ambiguous and unclear directions that legislatures have to follow is the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you at least, if nothing else, and I'm not there, so I'm not going to put words in your mouth, that you explain how tough of a situation this is, because I would think saying something like that would play. And the fact that they're going, they put them in a bad bond. I would think that would be something they would want to consider.
Well, I would like to see them clear it up. There is another case pending right now that I think will have an impact on our case. It's a case that involved Charleston County, and the plaintiffs and defendants in that case had asked for a ruling by January, and the Supreme Court of the United States still hasn't ruled. So here we are in April, and there is no ruling yet in that case. And I think that case is going to have an impact on ours too, because it talks about the kind of intersection between racial gerrymandering, which is what the allegation is by the plaintiffs in this new case, and political gerrymandering, which is essentially what our defense is, that these were politically driven decisions.
When you do a case like this and you represent the state, do you actually get on the stand and say, we know we racial gerrymandered? Do you actually get on there and say, we know we did this, but we were forced to?
No, I mean, we do acknowledge that the courts put us in the position we were in. I don't think anybody disputes that we wouldn't have had a special redistricting session but for the decisions that had come out of the United States Supreme Court, the Fifth Circuit, and Judge Dick's court here. So, we would have moved on and implemented our map that we had passed in 22. So I don't think there's any reason to say otherwise. I mean, that's why we were there. I testified to that in committee.
Well, everybody knew. Here's the good news. Everybody knew why we were there. It was really the people that wanted the district that's currently, been proposed and is going to court. Even the people on both sides knew that this was gerrymandered. But once again, I know your job is to represent whatever they pass. I want people to understand that whether you like it or not, doesn't have anything to do with it. You're there because that's your job.
Well, and the United States Supreme Court, in the last opinion, in the Alabama opinion, acknowledged, as I think it had to, that when you're in redistricting litigation, if a court has ruled against you, as they did in Alabama, our case, I'm going to stay away from our case in terms of the facts and the legal history because it's a little more complicated. But in Alabama, there was an injunction that was upheld, and they didn't dispute any of the underlying facts in their case. And so the plaintiffs had come forth and said, here's a map. You can draw this map. We demonstrated that it's possible to draw a map. And so you should have drawn the map and given us the second district. And so the Chief Justice and Justice Kavanaugh wrote a lot in concurrences in the Merrill case about how it's really impossible to not think about race. I mean, race is a factor when you are drawing a map under these conditions because of the backdrop. I mean, you're there because of litigation over the claim that there's inadequate representation of a certain minority group and that you're capable of drawing a map that meets constitutional standards. The question in our case is, does it meet constitutional standards?
Yeah, good point. All right, Liz, I'm going to let you go. Always a pleasure. Attorney General Liz Murrill. Let's do it again soon. God bless. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yes, ma'am. All right, we got to take a break. More to come. Moon Griffon Show. Don't go anywhere. Line One is a business telecom provider. Line One specializes in cloud-based communication with superior customer service. If you're frustrated with phone bills you can't understand, endless hold time to customer support, and phone system that is not meeting your needs, then you need to go to Line.one and schedule a free consultation to advance your business phone system. Line One, technology with a human touch. Go to Line.one and tell them Moon sent you. Again, that is Line.one.
Everywhere you turn. Russell Wilson here with Play 60, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Healthy kids.
To get involved, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Donate.
Are you guys going to do that every time?
Yes, of course.
Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Brobridge, Lafayette, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the Matthew James Financial Studio.
They were convicted apart, but will be sentenced together. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The first parents of any school shooter to be held criminally responsible.
Because the victims impacted are the same, the court felt it would be in the best interests of the victims, the defendants, and also judicially efficient to hear all the victim impact statements at the same time.
It was the judge a short time ago this morning before she will later sentence James and Jennifer Crumbley, who face up to 15 years in prison, convicted of involuntary manslaughter for not doing enough to treat their son's mental illness and for buying the gun Ethan used to murder 4 classmates at Oxford High in 2021. He is in prison for life. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is at the Senate, testifying at a hearing it was interrupted a few times at the start.
How many children have to die for you to be satisfied?
He and other pro-Palestinian protesters were angry over the war in Gaza, were escorted out by police. Austin told senators the U.S. does not have evidence Israel's committing genocide in its battle against Hamas militants. And the defense secretary again urged Congress to approve military aid for Israel and Taiwan and Ukraine, which keeps fending off Russia's invasion.
If the Kremlin prevails in Ukraine, it would embolden would-be aggressors around the globe. The United States would be far less secure.
While Texas's law that would let police handcuff migrants who cross the border illegally remains blocked in court, the federal government may have to sue another state from trying the same immigration enforcement.
Lawmakers in Louisiana are advancing a bill that would allow state and local police to arrest and incarcerate people they find are illegally present in the U.S. The bill is backed by Republicans in the state legislature. The party has control of the legislature, and Republican Governor Jeff Landry would likely sign it.
Fox's Evan Brown, there's a settlement more than a year after the toxic train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, if approved by a court. Norfolk Southern will pay $600 million to residents to take part in a class action lawsuit. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4.
Court-appointed special advocates, or CASA, are specially trained volunteers that help secure safe homes for abused and neglected children. Don't let these innocent victims slip through the cracks of our complicated legal system. Get involved today. Call CASA at 268-5111. This nonprofit organization moment brought to you by News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
It's time to win cash. Get your KPEL News apps ready because here's your chance to win up to $30,000. Just enter the following code into your KPEL News app where it says win cash, and make sure you listen for more codes throughout the day because the more codes you enter, the better your chances. Here is your next code.
Time to enter that 10 a.m. code. That code is 204. The 10 a.m. code is 204.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Moon Griffon Show. Thanks for being part of it. 844-766-6607 is the number if you'd like to be part of the program. You can always email me, moon@moongriffon.com. I got one guy who wants me to start doing some fishing shows. Man, that'd be easy for me to do it. Woo! That'd be easy for me to start doing fishing shows. I enjoy it, so I'd be glad to talk. You like to talk about what you're passionate for. All righty. Now, let's, Louisiana lawmakers yesterday, once again, hear me out here, the education savings accounts passed yesterday. That's not what it was called in the media, the devil's advocate. Louisiana lawmakers advanced bill to give parents tax money for private schools. You wouldn't even know if it had anything to do with education savings account because that's not how the media wants you to think about the bill. They want you to think them rich people. Oh, and by the way, more middle-class people go to private schools way more than rich people. People sacrifice left and right. People know what I'm talking about. But the media doesn't look at it that way. Rich and filthy rich kids that get to go to private school. Folks, trust me, from somebody who was in public and private and sent kids to public and private. Okay? It has nothing to do with rich. It has to do with sacrifice more than it has anything to do with rich. But Louisiana moved a step closer money, offering all parents thousands of dollars per year to help pay for private school after lawmakers advanced the hotly debated school choice bill. See how they did it? Louisiana moved a step closer. Money to offering all parents thousands of dollars per year to help pay for their private school. House Bill 745 allow families to apply state grants to spend on private school tuition, uniforms, online classes, and more. Programs projected to cost $260 million by 2027. Once again, that's what is that, folks? It's just my math is not too good. That's 3 years from now. State representatives passed the bill 7132, though not on party lines. There were a couple of Republicans that voted. I was kind of shocked at. Julie Emerson, my representative. She is the one helped author the bill. Says, I don't believe the bill will shut down public schools, nor is that my desire at all. Truly believe the program will provide better education outcomes for our students by allowing their parents to choose best education. It's really to help people that want to get their kids out of a bad school. We don't have all bad schools here. We got very good schools here in pockets of this state. And then they start backed by Governor Jeff Landry and influential state conservative groups. Rascal piece of trashes. The proposal would add Louisiana to a lengthening roster of Republican-led states that use tax dollars to subsidize private education. People that, I'm just kind of curious. You think people that send their kids to private school, you think they pay any taxes for the public school system? They do, don't they? What's the problem? I don't understand the problem here. They paying taxes? It ain't like they could quit paying taxes. Louisiana would put public funds in an education savings account, ESA. Look, finally, the fourth paragraph they mentioned ESA. They didn't put it in the headlines. The grant amounts would range about $5,200 for middle and upper income families to about $7,500 for low income households, more than $15,000 for students with disabilities. School board members and school superintendents across the state have spoken out against the bill, saying it will siphon resources. And by the way, as they done last time, in the paragraph, they put in there, over time, the annual cost could soar to $520 million, according to estimates of the Public Affairs Research Council of Louisiana, PAR. Where did PAR get those numbers? Made it up out of thin air. But the advocate uses this as a resource that PAR can't tell you where they got the numbers from. PAR said it'd be $520 million a year. Well, it doesn't get but to $258 by the third year. And by the way, the government, the legislature can stop it. They don't have to add any more money to it. The vote, which is a little shocking. A couple of Republicans that I know voted against this. And I don't know why. I don't know what they were thinking. Joe Stagney, who's really a liberal Democrat from Kenner, voted against it. Neil Raza, who's controlling Raza? Brett Guyman, Shane Mack, Larry Bagley, I understand. He's a fraud squad member. DeWitt Carey, I understand. I think that was a fraud squad member as well. And they had, Jason Hughes, Democrat, Marcus Bryant, Democrat, Travis Johnson, Democrat, Larry Sellers, Democrat, and Joy Walters, Democrat, all voted with the Republicans. Anyway, so it did pass the first hurdle, which is the House. It's got to go through the Senate committee and get through the Senate now. By the way, there's oversights, including random state audits. The bill would also require the school to administer annual tests. I had a call yesterday saying something about tests. Well, they got to take a test, though it says unlike public schools, they can choose which tests they give students. I don't know what that means. I mean, just give the same test. But they said they will be tested. So that, I had a school board member yesterday was nice enough to call in, appreciated the call. So there is some testing going on. I don't know if it's the testing that the public school wants them to do, but there's some testing going on. And then they throw in, but the private school gets to pick the test. Well, who do you think we ought to let pick the test? The media? The media? I mean, that list shocked a few people vote, but 71 votes, considering that, half a dozen Republicans voted against it. I have no idea why Guyman and the rest of them voted against it. I saw Representative Furman. He had questions about it. He didn't know if it would hurt his public schools in his rural areas, but he still voted for it. And he got a 2/3 vote, folks. 70 votes is a 2/3 vote. It's a pretty good number. Education savings account, which I'm sure if I see this lady at the Walgreens again, she's going to be pointing at me. But I was just a little shocked that some of the Republicans voted against it. But once again, the headlines doesn't talk about education savings account. It only talks about money going to private school. Well, what if money did go to private school? What if somebody in a poor school district who was really, their parents decided that this was not the best thing for them? What if they had a chance to get the money and put their kids in a better school? This is what I don't understand. What is wrong with people that feel like they're in a bad situation? What is wrong with pulling those kids out of those situations and giving them a better opportunity? I don't know what's wrong with that. I also read, they're going to get to handpick the students they want. I know. But you remember, and most people won't, there's no perfect system. The private schools aren't perfect. They'll tell you that. Parochial private schools, charter schools aren't perfect either. But you got to sit back and say, has the public schools been perfect too? And the answer is no, not even close. But I know there's good pockets of public schools. They are. They're all over the state of Louisiana. But, man, give them a chance. If this doesn't work, it's going to be 3 years before they even implement everything. I mean, 3 years. This is not happening all tomorrow. I think a lot of these school systems, a lot of people are in trouble because everybody implemented COVID money. And that COVID money has become a problem. They don't have it anymore. They just don't have it anymore. And so since they don't have that COVID money anymore, a lot of school systems are hurting. Y'all saw what California's going to do now? The illustrious governor they got there. If you move out of California, there's now going to be an exit tax on moving out of state. They got so many people leaving that state. Finance expert John Williams has recently analyzed California's new tax policy, which includes the introduction of a wealth tax targeting affluent residents and an exit tax for those relocating out of the state. You're going to be charged for leaving the pitiful state. And Newsom and all them people in California got to realize you're doing this to yourself. An exit tax. You know what? Louisiana should have got that. If we would have did an exit tax in Louisiana, we would have a budget of $150 billion because we got a lot of people exiting way before California started leaving. Man, maybe we should have had an exit tax, folks. Look how much money we could have to spend, man. How exciting would it be? These measures aim to address California's significant budget deficit. $68 billion. Oh, $68 billion for a state. The state's approach to increasing revenue, always increasing revenue, never cutting. Direct taxation on assets of the wealthy with additional scrutiny on assets reporting. They're going to find out what you got and what you're worth, and they're going to take it from you. By the way, California now plans spending freeze due to surging budget deficit. Folks, all these programs, paying for health care for illegals, all that's going to catch up with the country and the state. Amidst a significant fiscal crisis, California Governor Gavin Newsom is taking decisive action to confront the state's escalating budget problem. Folks, they just spend. It's going to catch. Hey, as it catches up to Texas, it's going to catch up to the United States of America, too, unfortunately, causing inflation. When we get back, I got a quick audio, and I want to get to an article because I thought Scott McKay hit this on the head dealing with King Bell, the guy that just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. We'll talk about that, and he nails what I've been telling you about this $2 billion budget deficit. Been telling y'all this for 8 years. It was a lie from Jay Darden and Edwards, but they found out how to do it because the media never asked a question. We'll be right back. Line One is a business telecom provider. Line One specializes in cloud-based communication with superior customer service. If you're frustrated with phone bills you can't understand, endless hold time to customer support, and phone system that is not meeting your needs, then you need to go to Line.1 and schedule a free consultation to advance your business phone system. Line One, technology with a human touch. Go to Line.1 and tell them Moon sent you. Again, that is Line.1. Oh, Shucks, you've been hearing me brag about Shucks. Been going there for many, many years. Shucks does a great job. If you like seafood, you got to go to Shucks in Abbeville. I'm telling you right now, there's shrimp, there's oysters, there's fish, all fresh, every day right off the boat. So if you want something fresh and you want fresh seafood, you got to go to Shucks. Don't forget, if you're having a party, call Shucks. Let them cater the event for you. Or you can go pick it up. Shucks, they're waiting on you. If you want a great time and you want great food, you got to go to Shucks in Abbeville. Shucks, oh, they're good. Folks, I want to tell you about one of my new advertisers, Adapt Concepts AC Service Repairs. Oh, serving all of Acadiana, surrounding areas, and the Gulf of Mexico for over 6 years. Full-service AC and heating company, repairs, installation, and preventive maintenance, which is very, very important. Installation service, professional quality services, focus on creating value for you. Terms of certified technician, 24/7 customer service, and free consultation. I'm talking Adapt Concepts, AC service repairs. You want the professionals, you want the best, this is them. Purchase a qualified high-efficient system for maintenance, plus get a free 12-year parts and labor warranty. Wow, don't you want to know about that? Call them at 337-408-8202. That's 337-408-8202. Or go to the website, adapt-ac.com. That's adapt-ac.com.
We're with Walter.
Man, just think if we'd had an exit tax all these years, how much money the state of Louisiana would have. How much more money would be wasted. We just needed that old exit tax. We should have had an exit tax under 8 years of Bell Edwards. Stink of the money that we could have raised. Just having it during the Edwards years would have been big. All right, let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Shreveport. We'll start with Woody. Woody, welcome to the Moon Griffon Show.
Appreciate your job, dude. Moon, thanks for taking the call.
Yes, sir.
You know, on this thing about the schools, do you see a tax hike from the locals on the horizon if this goes through? They'll holler the budget. It's taxing their budget. Do you see that?
And they love a tax increase. Government loves a tax increase. That's more money. My problem is this: if the people give, if you got a local tax, and the people in your area vote for it, they deserve to have to pay it. You know, that's. But there is no doubt that if they feel like they got less money coming, they'll raise taxes in a second. The problem is, I'm not going to vote for any personally. I think inflation has taken plenty out from my life in the last year or 2 or 3 under Joe Biden. So I'm not voting for tax increases. I don't care if it's for my mama. I'll just go help my mama.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just wonder because if it goes through, I mean, you can look for it, especially in Caddo Parish. They go find a way to raise taxes.
Normally, most of them do,
Okay,
Woody.
man,
That's all I can tell you. Yeah, thank you. Most of the time they do. All right, living on inflation. I want you to hear this. I just think it's an important piece to listen to. It's about a minute and something, but basically talking about how high prices are and how things cost more. Here we go.
Jobs. It's already cost jobs. It's going to continue costing jobs.
Minimum
and it's not
wage
just $20 an hour
the
about
minimum
the
wage
benefits. Stores are looking at probably almost $30 an hour to bring on an employee. And, small businesses cannot operate in that atmosphere.
Is it just about the hiring, or is it about potentially, and let's speak just about restaurants, if they have to charge, or rather pay $20 an hour minimum wage, do they have to raise their menu prices to make up for that in some way?
Sean, you're exactly right. We're living in an era of $10 burgers. I took my family, 3 kids, my wife, out to dinner a while ago, and we spent almost $100 in fast food for burgers and fries and shakes. If you look at the data, let's turn to data. In February of this year, prices to eat out went up 5% just over January. They keep overall information on this, overall data, going all the way back to the Reagan years. Prices have not been this high in 30 years. And so California says, look, people need help, so we're going to raise wages. But that's the wrong answer. The right answer is to slash all the regulations. Sean, I was in Los Angeles, and I went to refill my rental car, and gas was at $6.70 a gallon. If California really wants to help people, they need to slash the regulations that drive gas prices up and that drive food prices up, because people can't afford this, but don't take their jobs.
All right, there it is. And so he was talking about the minimum wage increasing to $20. It'd have to go up $30. And all that. And the guy asked kind of a silly question. What, do you think they'll have to raise the prices? No, just lose money. Quickest way to go bankrupt. Folks, this is why listen, I'm not wrong on what I'm going to tell you. I've been right about it. Fossil fuels, oil, natural gas, coal are what we need, and we need more of it and a lot of it. It keeps energy prices down. It keeps food prices down. We feed people. Cheap food, cheap energy means America's strong. Strong. You got an administration, the Obama-Biden administration, the left and the media. This is how you destroy a country. High prices, high inflation, based on a lie. Based all on a lie. That's what I don't understand, American people. You don't see it's based on a lie. It's incredible to watch. Fossil fuels, the natural gas, the coal, oil, all that stuff. We got an unlimited supply. We don't even have to do nothing on the Green Deal. Go back to what we were doing, and you see prices, but they don't want that. Same thing with the price of a vehicle. They jamming them up. They jacking them up on you, so you have to go electric, which is going to cost you way more. You know what you're going to start doing? They'll control the population doing what they do. You ain't got as much food, and you can't afford to live. You're not going to have no babies. Now, that's where they want you. That's so satanic. That's so crazy. That's what they're doing to America. I'm watching it every day. That's why I get upset with all the gas industry and the chemical plants and all that. I'm read just now that Biden and them are going to crack down on even more on the chemical plants and more with using the EPA to destroy America. Why do you want to destroy your own country? I don't understand that. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, we got to take a break. When we get back, great piece. I've been telling you about a $2 billion budget deficit. Not just on that. There's a chart out there showing what happened under Bill Edwards. A great piece in the Hayride graph shows just how awful Bill Edwards truly was. It's a great piece. We'll be right back.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. It's termite season. Did you know termites are responsible for over $1 billion worth of damage in Louisiana alone? For over 60 years, J&J Exterminating has been shielding homes and businesses. 100% guaranteed against termites, pests, and mosquitoes. Louisiana-owned, customer-focused. J&J Exterminating.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating.
Get the shield.
Yeah. Spring is here, and if you love seafood like I do, you need Ragin' Cajun, the original Cajun seasoning, and Ragin' Cajun's delicious seafood dinners like etouffee, Creole sauce, shrimp and grits, seafood bisque, gumbo and roux. All Ragin' Cajun products are made right here in Acadiana. Folks, trust me, they are good. Ask for the Ragin' Cajun and all your favorite grocery stores today. Ragin' Cajun, the original Cajun seasoning. Ask them for the Ragin' Cajun. Oh, man, I love me some Superior Grill. Superior Grill, the best Mexican food in the state of Louisiana, bar none, baby. They are the best, and you're going to love them, too. They got great drinks and food, and the atmosphere is second to none. They know what they're doing. They know how to serve. Hey, folks, you do know they cater. They do cater. Superior Grill, located in New Orleans, Shreveport, and Baton Rouge, Lafayette right around the corner. You're going to love Superior Grill. You're going to love the atmosphere. You're going to love the taste. They can handle anything you got. Folks, they got happy hours. They really serve the people. And you're going to love Superior Grill. I love it. You're going to love it. I cannot wait to go to Superior Grill. I've been going to Superior Grill now for 29 years. Let me tell you, I know all about Superior Grill. And I want good Mexican food. I'm going to Superior Grill. I want to see you there. We're going to have a blast.
Join Riverfront this hour, brought to you by Matthew James Tax and Wealth Management. Online at MatthewJames.com.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. What a day. What a day. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Matthew James Tax Wealth Management Hotline. What it is. Here's a story of stories. As you know, I fought bail for 8 years. And he won elections back then because of Republicans. But the governing style and what he did hurt us. And the only thing he can claim to fame is, well, had a lot of problems, and I got a lot of federal money, and I raised a lot of taxes. So go to the Hayride. I want y'all to all read this. This is really good. And I'm going to get to the part about the $2 billion and what really happened. And I told you, that's why nobody has debated me on this. I can go debate any of them because they can't prove it. So this graph, just how awful Bill Edwards truly was. Now, let me just share it with you. He goes on to talk about legacy and stuff like that, and the media set up an utterly corrupt institution which does more to hide the truth from the people of Louisiana, produce an informed electorate. That's true. The lies began all the way back in 2015. Bill Edwards was first announced he was running for governor and was presented as a moderate or conservative Democrat, and there ain't no such thing. When in truth, Edwards was voting record to the left. Voting record was to the left, every single member of the Legislative Black Caucus. Dude, this dude was always a leftist. Those lives matter. Edwards was a catastrophe for the state. We discussed time and again how his politics sparked a mass exodus of out-migration among the economically competitive Louisiana citizens, leaving us poorer, less skilled, less educated, older, and less socially mobile as a state. Hayride reported the article from the Center Square on the results of a study undertaken by the Louisiana legislature audited the performance of the Louisiana Economic Development. The state Louisiana entity was supposed to recruit companies, set up shop to recruit and create jobs. LED on Edwards is nothing short of a disaster. So they got this article and they got a chart. Southeastern states employment growth calendar year 2015 to 2023. Florida at the top, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, and so on. Get to the very bottom. Every state in the South and the Southeastern states' employment growth prepared by the Legislative Office of Staff using data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Louisiana was the only one with a negative 0.1 growth. Y'all see this? Florida, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina. I mean, it's so far. Alabama, Virginia, they're all ahead of us. Everybody grew but Louisiana. Under Edwards' 8 years of watch, Mr. Hall of Famer. Everybody else in the South. Everybody. That's the level of performance was so terrible as to demand accountability for the people responsible for it. By the way, Bell Edwards was not unlucky in producing these numbers. He actively created them. Let's remember, Edwards came in office having promised not to raise taxes. Remember that? $7 billion. Because he made up the $2 billion fiscal cliff. Listen to this very closely. They kept saying, I remember watching the debates with him and Vitter. We're going to have an $800 million deficit. We'll have a $1 billion deficit. Goes in, him and Jay Darden prepares, lies, comes back out and lies to us. Now listen to this next paragraph. The deficit Edwards claimed was a gap between what Louisiana's economy was producing and tax revenue and the outlandish amount of government spending that Edwards deemed necessary. He sent the budget to the state legislature, was grossly inflated, and then he lied to the people of Louisiana, claiming that if he didn't get the tax increase to pay for his suffering would be catastrophic. Now listen, there it is right there. Okay? Bell Edwards and Jay Darden, the legendary Jay, the backstabbing Darden, they came up with this scheme that the media never asked. I was the only one. I don't say that to point at me. I know some of you people think that, but it's not. I was the only one. I'm not smart. Remember, I'm not smart as these people. I get that. But I knew something was wrong. And that was the key. The gap between Louisiana's economy with tax revenue they had, what they wanted to spend, was probably $2 billion. But it was not the deficit. It was a created deficit out of thin air. And Darden and Edwards came up with this. And Jay Darden's just as guilty. This is, let me tell you what, folks. So I'll spend $10,000 a month, but I want to spend $12,000 a month. So I'll come to you and say, well, I'm $2,000 short from what I'm spending, and when I'm bringing in $10,000 a month, I want to spend $12,000 a month. So I tell you, hey, I need $2,000 more dollars. I'm in trouble. Not because the $10,000 wasn't enough, because I really wanted the $12,000. So I have to come to you folks and say, hey, I got a $2,000 problem. Can somebody help a brother out? Can you raise some taxes? Then he was blessed according with federal money from no telling where. Folks, that's what it was. That's why they got the $2 billion deficit. But they never came and explained that to me because they couldn't come tell me the truth. And including Zero Z Zarang. And nobody stopped to say, not one Republican stopped and said, hold up, Edwards. What you want to spend versus what we got coming in, it's two different things. It's not a $2 billion deficit. It might have been $1 billion, billion, one, whatever. But that was it. It was never $2 billion. They used that in campaign ads. They used that the other night. Jay, their legendary dog, who helped them create this, used this when they were doing the Hall of Shame. And they still talking about it. And the media still writes about it. But the media never had. I love to sit down and have a debate with the twit Tyler Bridges on the truth. Because the Tyler Bridges couldn't tell us the truth. By the way, he was praised at the Hall of Shame by Jay Darden. As a fair man, he got all the facts. That's a lie. There's the difference, folks. What they wanted to spend and what they had coming in was $2 billion difference. And then they hit go with all the hurricanes because hurricanes and floods and COVID became economic development to a state that was struggling for economic development. And it's still struggling because Bell Edwards never changed that. And the media wrote how great he was. And Jay Darden, who, by the way, if I was Jay, I would call Edwards great too, because he took his retirement and doubled it for the rest of his life, from about $8,000 or $9,000 a month to $16,000 or $18,000 a month for the rest of his life. Of course, he thinks Edwards was great. But I'm telling y'all, the reason I never got any pushback on this, ever, is because this is what was created out of thin air. And it was used as a campaign the second time he ran. They had advertisement. And I told y'all back then, this is so up the road, you can say, look what I did. We wouldn't have all the money we have without the federal government. Y'all need to read this. The chart here will blow your mind how bad it was under Edwards. Edwards trotted out the head of the Department of Children and Family Services, claimed its aging vehicle fleet would begin overheating when summer temperatures increased. And there would be small children suffering heat stroke. Then he claimed we might not have LSU football. McKay said it was stupid lie, but Louisiana legislators didn't have the sand to see through them and laugh them out of the Capitol. Instead, they ramped up the state sales tax to generate the highest combined state and local sales tax burden in America. They hit businesses with taxes on business utilities, inventory, all kind of other things, and they destroyed what positive momentum existed in Louisiana's economy, already sagging from low oil prices. Folks, all of 8 years was a lie. It was a lie. Edwards is a lie. The backstabbing Jay Darden is a liar. These people are liars. The Center Square article notes Louisiana isn't just the worst job performer in the South, but that we also perform worse than any other energy state over the same time period. That policy is driven as well as Edwards' Green New Deal, communist, and it is, who attacked the oil and gas industry by attempting to promote wind and solar and other poor-performing energy sources. Most of the oil and gas industry in Louisiana went down. It hasn't returned yet, though hopefully it will. Cannot be said enough, Edwards was a pestilence on the state economy. I mean, y'all get mad at me. Well, this past business, we got to do. I get it. Don't you come tell me about Bell. Don't you tell me about Jay Darden. They lied about that budget deficit, and that's how they did it. And I think you ought to know. So when they're out there bragging about what they did all them years, and Jay Darden's going to live really a better life than most of us will ever get to live because he stayed in state government, don't tell me how great it was. That's what they did, folks. So next time you look at your husband or your wife and go, hey, we're doing $10,000 and she wants to spend or he wants to spend $13,000. Justify it. Oh, we got a $3,000 problem, Moon. You need to go work another job. That's what they did. And the taxes increased. And then everything else had so many disasters that, money kept coming. Just amazing. I just wanted you to know the truth. Thank you, Scott. We'll take a break. 844-766-6607. Matthew James Tax Wealth Management Hotline. If you love seafood like I do, you need Ragin' Cajun, the original Cajun seasoning, and Ragin' Cajun's delicious seafood dinners like etouffee, Creole sauce, shrimp and grits, seafood bisque, gumbo and roux. All Ragin' Cajun products are made right here in Acadiana. Folks, trust me, they are good. Ask for the Ragin' Cajun and all your favorite grocery stores today. Ragin' Cajun, the original Cajun seasoning. Ask them for the Ragin' Cajun.
As Louisiana's only fiberglass manufacturer and fabricator, C-Safe Fiberglass Grading and Structural Systems has provided corrosion-resistant products to the Gulf Coast for over 45 years. Our fiberglass gradings, cable trays, and structural shapes are ideal to replace corroded, rotting building products and can be custom fabricated by the best fiberglass craftsmen in the world, right here in Lafayette. Contact C-Safe or visit our website at csafe.com. That's SEA like the ocean, SAFE.com.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. It's termite season. Did you know termites are responsible for over $1 billion worth of damage in Louisiana alone? For over 60 years, J&J Exterminating has been shielding homes and businesses. 100% guaranteed against termites, pests, and mosquitoes. Louisiana-owned, customer-focused. J&J Exterminating.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating.
Get the shield.
Yeah.
Looking for a
Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607 is the number if you'd like to be part of the program, your opportunity to be a voice. One of the things that I want to bring up, okay, that I think is important to go along with this. The Revenue Estimating Conference, which was under Jay Darden, and I never know how to take them, okay? I never know how to take them. But the Revenue Estimating Conference under Jay Darden never said, ever came up with $2 billion. Never. That's what got me all along was they never came up with this, and I knew that that's where that should have came from. And Jay Darden oversaw that. He's the one who oversaw it. And do you realize they never, ever, ever came up with numbers like that, but yet Darden and Edwards knew it. They knew it. How did they know it? The Revenue Estimating Conference never came up with $2 billion, ever. That's what was so sad. I was the only one. You think you're so smart. No, I don't think I'm smart at all. It showed how everybody looked the other way. That's it. We look the other way. We want to fix the state, but we really want to fix the state. $2 billion was a lie. They mentioned it 2 or 3 times at the Hall of Shame the other night. This man took $2 billion. Where did they get $2 billion? I got it from Jay Darden. Jay Darden knew how to play the game. Make it look worse. You want tax to make it look worse. They had no idea they were going to get money from flood and COVID and all that stuff. They just kept falling in. They look at the governor and, man, you're going to win. Governor won by 40,000 votes against a guy that never ran it before. And if he hadn't made the voters of Ralph Abraham bad, he'd have won. Edwards would have got beat. I'm just letting you know this, folks, because when you read about this and you see all this stuff, I know most people will never get it and understand it, but they lied. They lied. Darden and Edwards lied and got away with it. They lied and got away with it because the media they never challenge them. They just never challenged them. They didn't want to challenge. They're going to challenge Jeff Landry if he breaks a toenail. But not when they had the legendary Bell and Jay Darden in there. I'll give you an example. 2022 state revenue forecast get $1.5 billion brighter. December 15th, 2022, Revenue Estimating Conference recognized $925 million access. Show me when the Revenue Estimating Conference back in the day under Bell Edwards came back and said we had a $2 billion budget problem. I mean, when you can show it to me, I'm willing to listen, but you can't because they never said anything. That came from Darden that came from Jay Darden and Bell Edwards. That's where it came from. Record state revenues. Could tax relief be in Louisiana's? No. It's exactly what I told y'all back then. Hey, look, sometimes it just makes you feel better to know you were right, even if most people don't even understand how right I was on this and how much of a lie that was. And it was such a lie. Jay Darden oversaw the Revenue Estimating Conference. He was the governor's right-hand man. He's the one, I guarantee he came up with the idea. Him and Bell said, look, let's stretch this thing out. Revenue Estimating Conference is going to sit on the side. Revenue Estimating Conference never said we had a $2 billion budget. And if they ever did, they agreed with Darden. I mean, that's just the way it is. I know it's, you could say, Moon, is sour grapes now. It ain't sour grapes because I knew it then. It just kind of bothers me. We had 8 years of somebody who should have been governor at all. At all. Ever. I'm talking about ever. But you know, I didn't win that one. That was all set up by Darden being co-governor. What do you want to do now? I want the media to admit they lied. If they do that, then I feel better about it. I would. I feel a lot better about it. But they won't. I just wish they would. Let me see some. I'll pull up some numbers. I don't know if I can pull up the exact numbers on this thing. Well, I'm going to have to go back and pull it up. But it's sad that we had to watch what we watched. When we definitely didn't have to watch that. That was kind of ridiculous. Let's see if I can pull. I'm trying to pull this up. I'm going to have to go back and check. There's a formula they use, and nobody ever saw the $2 billion. It never was in there because it was just made up. I guess I'm still frustrated how the lies are able to move forward and the state's not. But I knew I had that, and Scott wrote the article. I highly recommend you go read the article at the Herald and see exactly how you were so fooled for 8 years by the media. If you're going to trust the media, we're going to be in trouble. We don't need to trust the media. Don't trust the media in this state. God knows don't trust the devil's advocate who claims they unbiased. You got Jay Darden praising a news media guy like Tyler the Twit Bridges, who wrote a book about Edwards winning and left out all the good stuff. And then he was right there to make sure he popped and hit and got on anybody that tried to get in their way. I hope it's a new day, folks. I believe it is. Hope we'll start seeing the education savings account moved on. That was a good thing. Tickled to death to see that. All right, we got to take a break. Moongriffon.com if you're going to listen to more. Got a lot of topics to still cover. You're listening to The Moon Griffon Show.
For the absolute best in local Cajun food, check out Prejean's in their 2 locations in Carencro and Broussard today.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Brobridge, Lafayette, a Town Square media station broadcasting from the Matthew James Financial Studio.
Anguish in a Michigan courtroom. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The families of 4 teenagers killed in the Oxford High School shooting in 2021 giving victim impact statements at the sentencing of the shooter's parents.
Watching the video, hearing testimony on how your son executed my daughter, watching him put the gun to her head as he covered her head and pulled the trigger.
Nicole Beausoleil lost her daughter Madison and says Jennifer and James Crumbley's involuntary manslaughter conviction doesn't reflect the choices they made, not doing enough to address his mental health issues and buying him the gun.
You failed as parents. The punishment that you face will never be enough. It will never bring her back. It will never be a loss that you have suffered, and it will never heal the pain.
The shooter, Ethan Crumbley, who was 15 at the time, is already serving life in prison. His parents face up to 15 years in what's considered a landmark case. Jennifer Crumbley just telling the court she didn't know until the police probe after the shooting that her son had been planning a mass shooting.
Not only were you left in the dark about previous concerning behavior, but in the counselor's office that morning, none of those previous issues were brought to our attention,
including drawing pictures of guns on his schoolwork. Norfolk Southern agrees to a $600 million settlement over last year's toxic train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. If approved in court, it would resolve class action claims within a 20-mile radius of the crash site and personal injury claims in a 10-mile radius.
Payments could begin by the end of the year. Norfolk Southern also saying that the settlement doesn't include or constitute any admission of liability, wrongdoing, or fault. It's already spent more than $1.1 billion in its cleanup response and promised to create a fund to help pay for long-term health needs of the community.
Fox's Jeff Bonasso. America is listening to Fox News.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
At a Senate hearing on the Pentagon budget,
our request positions the United States to tackle the department's pacing challenge, the People's Republic of China, with confidence and urgency.
While also facing what Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin calls the acute threat from an increasingly aggressive Russia. That hearing interrupted by pro-Palestinian protesters accusing the administration of funding genocide in Gaza. The Biden administration hopes to address environmental justice and the president's cancer moonshot initiative at the same time, with a new rule.
The EPA says in a statement that this final rule is meant to reduce ethylene oxide and chloroprene emissions at chemical plants in states like Louisiana, Texas, and West Virginia. They write that the rule will cut more than 6,200 tons of toxic air pollution each year, reducing the cancer risk to nearby communities. The rule is also meant to reduce other chemicals, too, like benzene and vinyl chloride, at roughly 200 chemical plants. One of the biggest producers of chloroprene is Japanese-owned Denka in Louisiana. They make synthetic rubbers for things like hoses and wetsuits. Earlier this year, they fought an EPA effort to reduce emissions on an emergency basis, saying they'd already reduced them by over 85% in recent years. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
A split decision from the European Court of Human Rights on climate change issues. They're based in France.
The court, not related to the European Union, sides with a group of older Swiss women against their government in a landmark ruling that could have implications across the continent. Celebrity activist Greta Thunberg.
This is only the beginning of climate litigation. All over the world, more and more people are taking their government to court, holding them responsible for their actions.
This is the first time there's been an international court ruling on climate change. The group, mostly in their 70s, said that their age and gender made them particularly vulnerable to the effects of heat waves linked to climate change.
Fox's CJ Papa. The same court, though, ruled against Portuguese students who wanted to force their countries to meet climate change obligations. And Lisa Brady, Fox News.